Next, I request Mr. Raghavender from Syngenta Foundation to make the presentation.
Good morning. Thank you, sir, for giving us opportunity to be part of this session. I'll give a brief about Syngenta Foundation. Most of us know that we are a non-for-profit international NGO organization. Works in various sectors like policy, seeds activities, agri entrepreneurs, and in seeds activity, most of the activities are happening through partnerships, public-private partnerships. Within that, there is a model called seeds to be model. So in seeds, through seeds to be model, all the activities of public-private partnerships are happening with the main objective. So through this model, the objectives of seeds to be model and Syngenta Foundation are basically we are encouraging the partners to work together. So what we believe is once we start working together, the two sectors, there is a transfer of know-how and also technology. So with these things, the improved varieties can be made accessible. Improved varieties can be made accessible to the smallholding farmers. So the main agenda is entirely revolving around bringing up the livelihood of smallholder farmers by increasing their incomes. Where where there are marginal markets where private sectors cannot reach there. So in those areas, through public-private partnerships, we are helping those farmers. So this is one objective. And the other objective is we drive the forward-looking solutions through public-private partnerships and also work on climate smart resilient agriculture innovations, making them accessible not only to the commercial farmers but again to the smallholder farmers. So while I was preparing for this, so and also looking at what's happening across the world, recently some of the global conferences are also keeping this thematic, like the cooperation in a fragmented world as a thematic and conducting the seminars. So cooperation in a fragmented world, which has come like off late in the last few years, we have seen the crisis like COVID-19 and Ukraine war. So these things have brought significant transformations across the industries. Agriculture is one among them. So once this is happening, with the fragmentation and with the countries, there is a cold wars and real wars happening. The thought leaders and policy makers are focusing more on how to collaborate, how to partner, and leverage on those partnerships and collaborations to get the things done. And now when we look at today's topic like public-private partnerships, this collaboration and partnerships are at the heart of it. But if we have to make these partnerships, public-private partnerships successful, we are identified, like Syngenta Foundation identified that there is one prominent P which is missing apart from public-private, and that is the philanthropy. So if this philanthropy P also comes and joins hands with these public and private sectors, then the pace at which these projects move and the impact at which we can generate to the smallholder farmers will be at a faster pace. So with this ideology, the landscape is definitely moving from competitive landscape to collaborative landscape across the industries, and agriculture is no exception. So following the same ideology of philanthropy, because Syngenta Foundation is a non-for-profit organization, we are infusing the funds in the activities where working on climate resilient and smart agriculture solutions for the smallholder farmers. If there are pressing challenges in those areas, we are funding those activities and making the projects to run at a faster pace, giving a better impact ultimately. So if you look at this slide, the seeds to be model which I was mentioning in the beginning, through this model, clearly we are positioned very uniquely. There are a clear roles and responsibilities for private sector in the PPP model and a clear roles and responsibilities for the public sector. But there needs to be a facilitator or a catalyzing agent to make the things happen. And that is the exact role what Syngenta Foundation has been doing several years. from the past several years. But this kind of ideology and this kind of catalyzing and facilitating partners was formally introduced in the global seminars of late, where Syngenta Foundation CEO was also part of it. I mean, I'm referring to World Economic Forum, which is happening parallelly as we are discussing now. So here, through this catalyzing and facilitating role, we are linking upstream with the CGs and NARs and downstream with seed partners and also farmers. So in the upstream, while we are linking with the CGs and NARs, the facilitation or the catalyzing activities which we are delivering are mainly enabling these partners to derive the target product profiles, variety testing and advancements, demonstrations, business plan preparations, and seed policy advocacy. While coming to the downstream, once the germplasms are developed and handed over to the seed partners be it the small and medium seed companies, NGOs or FPOs, they are struggling between the transition from R&D to the commercialization in terms of how to launch those varieties into the market. Because our ultimate aim was, unless it is made available to the smallholder farmers, then we have not won that game. So to enable the seed partners to reach those germplasm to the farmers, there are some of the expertise which is required for these seed partners, which are mainly like, they need to be educated with the marketing plans, seed production plans, seed production guidelines, campaign activities, pricing strategies, quality control measures. So all these things are also, we are helping them to give knowledge transfer and also capability building programs. These activities are also being told to them so that the promotion will be at a faster pace. So if you look at here, there is R&D space and commercial space. So this transition is properly taken care by Syngenta Foundation through Seeds to Be model. Especially in the commercialization space, we have developed a proper guidelines for the seed partners so that they can just follow those guidelines or look at those guidelines for a excellence in the product launches. Some of the product launches will get failed because they do not follow the proper stage gate process. If you look at the entire from R&D to till the product gets phased out, the critical stages are after the product the coming into the late development stage. From there it has to go to the testing and registration phase, then properly introduced into the market, then the growth phase. So for all these four phases, we have developed the sub points for each phase. What are the activities these seed partners has to do or should have the knowledge about, by which the product will get success in the market. So these guidelines are also getting ready, and there is a separate website is being developed. The partners can register, can seek for the training and get the detailing about it, then they can do the launching of these products. So with this ideology, having done these things, what are the key success factors for these things to happen? Even the philanthropic partner joining hands with public private and catalyzing the activities, we found out that there are some critical success factors, that there should be a common understanding of the partnering environment by all the stakeholders. So unless this is done, each one thinks in their own domain and things will not move. So as we have heard from the previous speaker also, a proper roles and responsibilities for each sector has to be defined. And then the governance structures, performance management tools, and high consideration on the communication and interaction. Sometimes we miss this because when private and public sector are there, there will be a lag in the communication and the one person won't respond. Then this catalyzing and facilitator comes and makes things happen. So with these success factors and the model which I have explained earlier, we are running 2 to 3 projects. So one project is already in a more advanced stage, which is AAA Maize, which I am going to talk about. And then there is a TAP 5, tropically adopted potatoes, and then which is yet to be, like, we are conceptualizing that for a promotion of high oleic acid groundnuts in Myanmar. So these are the three projects which are purely running on the ideology which I have explained, that a public and private partner will be there and a philanthropic partner like Syngenta Foundation will be there. So the first, very briefly I will talk about
Raghavender, you have 2 minutes.
Yes, sir. Done, sir. So TAP 5 is just, I mean, the public partner is SIP and the private partner is HZBC. So these two partners are bringing their respective expertises and bringing the tropically adopted potatoes to the market. So this is in brief, since with the time, I'll take more time on the AAA maize, more than a minute and a half probably. So the two sectors, again the public sector are CIMMYT is the research and development organization, and Syngenta Commercial is a private sector. So these two things, these two organizations, activity is facilitated and coordinated by Syngenta Foundation. So the main aim was to bring out the tropically adopted drought tolerant maize hybrids, and the main objective of this breeding program for India was to develop those hybrids which yield almost, like, 80% of the single crosses, the standard single crosses, and which yield double the OPVs, and also yield better than the commercial hybrids which are not performing in those drought conditions. And with this ideology, so where these hybrids can fit in India or in Asian context is, with proper survey it is identified that in West Central India there is a potential of almost 1.3 million hectares where we can target these hybrids. So when we had a meeting with the seed partners, the private seed partners who will actually take these seeds to the farmers, they told that in 500,000 hectares we can take this hybrid. So that has translated into 10,000 metric tons of seed. But we are not reaching there, we are very far behind. But the activities which these seed partners are doing are really phenomenal. And with these things, the drought tolerance, as we spoke, and high yielding, these two characters are coming from two different institutions. So Syngenta is giving the high yielding germplasm, and CIMMYT is giving us the drought tolerant germplasm, and those drought tolerant and high yielding are made available in those drought tolerant areas where there are small holding farmers. And now, as of now, almost 10 partners are promoting this hybrid, and we have reached 250 metric tons of promotion in the last year. Next year we are going ahead with a target of 380 metric tons. Hopefully that's possible. So thank you, sir. With this I'll conclude my session. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Mr. Raghavender.